Hello YouTube world, my name is Nicholas Montez and you're watching my YouTube channel, Nicholas Montez. Welcome back to my YouTube channel everybody. I'm so excited to have y'all back here together again. And also, Happy New Year. I know that this video is late. I was supposed to do this on December 31st. But I was so behind on so many movies, so I had to take the time to actually go ahead and watch them. But don't worry, videos, I'll be doing a live tomorrow, so don't worry about it. But today we're doing a ranking of all 19 retro December movies that I saw in the month of December of 2022. And with that said, let's go ahead and get started ranking all 19 of these movies. Now, I saw this movie, and I'm sorry, but this is just a terrible film. I mean, the movie is just dumb stuff with people laughing in the background and doing a bunch of this weird stuff, and it's like, it's kind of annoying.
Hi. Let me go get your mail.
I'm sorry, that was my computer. Like, it's just annoying, and honestly, it's just, like, I couldn't even get into it, so it's like, it comes in last place, I'm sorry. Okay, now honestly, I watched this movie last night, and I don't even know what the whole point of this movie was. What was this? I don't even know what this movie was. It just comes in last place. I don't even remember anything about it. Alright, now this is another movie that I just don't really remember much. It's just, it stars Ben Affleck. It has this dog blown up. But I mean, other than that, the movie's just meh. It's fine. Now, this is another pretty good little film that I thought worked well enough. It's not the greatest movie out there, but it does work in its own little way. I thought that I thought the action between the horror stuff was cool. And overall, it had some fun with it. Now, I think why I like the second Boy film, no wait, I think I like the new one more, or the first one more, is because it had a lot more, it had a bit of better action and stuff like that, so I liked it a little more. Alright, so we're talking about Strange World once again, and honestly, this is just a movie that's fine. It's, of course, you know, it's Disney, so the animation is great. Personally, I did like some of the characters, and I like some of the adventure sort of vibes to it. The problem with it is, like, the story didn't really come together full for me, and so that's kind of why it comes in at number 14. Now, Last Christmas, I thought, worked really nicely. I thought it was a nice rom-com, while at the same time it focused on other characters like Michelle Yeoh. Finally, I remembered her name. It was Michelle Yeoh, and it had great chemistry between our two leads, where two of these characters are relatable. You care for them, but also it is a kind of a funny film, and the whole Christmas soundtrack is great. The problem here is it doesn't really know what theme it's trying to do, and that's kind of my biggest problem with this film. But overall, I did like it though. Alright, so to end off the year, I watched Bloodshot, and it was a fine movie. I wasn't expecting this movie to be like great or anything. It of course just tells a familiar story of this guy who becomes this overpowered soldier, and then he just starts to kill people and all that stuff. And the story is basic, and it stars Vin Diesel and the guy that played Aldrich Killian from Iron Man 3. It's simple, it's cheesy, and it's fun, and I do like the film, so that's pretty much my thoughts on Bloodshot. Alright, so now this is another film that I watched. This was actually the last movie I watched in 2022. Or as you can, more likely of 2023, because I saw it just today. But I think it was a pretty good film. It wasn't exactly like a top tier film or anything like that, but it worked well enough, and I thought it had a nice little story to tell. But it wasn't my thing, though. Now, I watched this movie last night, though at the same time I did kind of fall asleep on it, but I kind of know what happened. I kind of knew what happened already. And basically, it was about this father who forgot a bunch of stuff, and basically, it was just not, like, he did not have a good memory, and, like, he was kind of, like, remembering some things, and it's, like, you kind of felt emotional for him because he was forgetting stuff, and I'm like, it was kind of cool. It started the girl that played Aurora from Maleficent, so I kind of had some, it was kind of good, it was good. Alright, so Black Adam is once again another good DC film. It, of course, introduces us to The Rock as Black Adam, where he's just finally get him as a superhero, though he got debunked. We finally get Superman back, the Man of Steel Superman, Henry Cavill back as Superman, got cut. We get the introduction to the Justice Society of America, but we don't know if that's going to get cut either. Besides that, I think that this movie is pretty fun. It has a lot of great action sequences, and overall, it's just a fun superhero film. So, I remember a few years ago, during COVID, when COVID started, I remember this movie came out back in March of 2020. My family were watching it, and they just couldn't really get into it. But for me, this seems like a film like I would like, and not gonna lie, it was. It stars Mark Wahlberg, it stars Winston Duke, which is, a lot of you might know him from as M'Baku from Black Panther. And basically, it's like about this movie about this cop who went to prison for 5 years after killing someone, and now he's coming out of prison. He's coming back to his father, and but then he realizes he has a new roommate, so he's trying to figure out this case with this guy. But then at the same time, like, I think the best thing about this film is you get, it's basically a Mark Wahlberg and Winston Duke fun film where you get this odd pair of people where I never thought they would actually interact. But you get it in this film, and it's fun, and it's awesome, and you even get some nice action with Winston Duke as he's this big guy, and so he punches people, he knows how to punch now, and it's just a fun little film starring Mark Wahlberg and Winston Duke that I have a lot of fun with. So for me, I would say that this is my least favorite of these Santa Claus films, but I will say it is at least a good movie because it does tell a pretty clever story where you introduce Jack Frost and you include him into this time travel story, where it's like, I would never believe I was Santa in the first place. So you go to the first time of the movie, and basically it's to go on Christmas Eve, and then you turn the North Pole basically into a theme park. And it has some nice little things here and there, but overall, it was fine overall. Now, Fatman was my pick for the Christmas movie for 2022, and I would say it was actually a pretty good movie. I mean, it's not like top tier or anything like that, but it was good. It creates the story of trying to go and kill Santa Claus and going to the North Pole, and they treat it like it's actually something real, but like they don't really just exploit it like that. And I'm kind of disappointed by this, but and I was thinking there was gonna be a lot more action in this film than I expected, but there's really not. So it was good, but I didn't love it. Now, I think La La Land did something that I thought was great for Damien Chazelle's work. It was different than what they did with Whiplash. With Whiplash, they kind of focused a little bit on music a little bit. With this movie, they focused more on doing music and songs. And I honestly love that. And you also get just great interactions between Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone, which are just fantastic. The music is great. And the story is just pretty good, so pretty good film. Alright, so for me, I would say that this is definitely another good movie. I watched it during on New Year's Eve, and it was actually a pretty good story. It's once again stars the girl from who played Aurora in Maleficent, and they have great chemistry where you kind of create this relationship, but then they bring him after curfew. It does a nice little story, and I appreciated that. Now, back in 2020, I just heard that this was one of the most praised films of 2020, and I could kind of understand why, but it is not my top. It is not even close to being one of my top 10 favorite films of all time. But I really liked it, where you create this scenario of this invisible man being there. You have all these different scenarios of people getting killed, people getting hit in the face, and the girl is being blamed because of it, and everybody's going crazy and they don't know what's going on, and you start to realize that there's this guy in a suit turning invisible and hurting people and blaming her on it, and I just thought that was incredible. A great way to build tension, a great way to build character stuff. I just thought that was so great, and I really liked this film. Now, I will say this is my least favorite of the Night at the Museum films, but it is top tier for December of 2022 for retro films, and I would say it was a good movie. It continued the story of these characters that you know and love, where you continue the story with the son, where he has a lot more to do involved. You get the continuation of this future museum where they're trying to get to Egypt. You introduce Lancelot, and you actually have some pretty fun action sequences, whether it's the three-head snake character, or even the Escher drawing fight, where you have Theodore Roosevelt, Ben Stiller's character, and Lancelot. And then, of course, you got the Hugh Jackman cameo, which I thought was great. So overall, it told a nice story, though I'm not the biggest fan of the way they did the whole story with Egypt and going to Egypt. Besides that, I thought it was a pretty good movie, and even though it is my least favorite of the Night at the Museum films. Well, technically the animated one is, but of the live-action ones, this is my least favorite. Now, at first when I watched this movie, I did not expect this movie to be coming at number 1, but I was watching it and I was like, okay, this seems like a basic film of someone doing music, don't understand the hype. And then you get to J.K. Simmons' performance, where he starts yelling at this kid for being fat. And you know, the movie has great insults from J.K. Simmons. I mean, his insults are crazy. But that's not why this movie works. The reason why this movie works so well is that it's really a movie about pushing people to become better of themselves. And I honestly love that's what I love about this film. That they were able to create that kind of story. And personally, that was just one of my favorite things about this movie. Likewise, and like you go through the entire film and it's like, he's being disrespectful to all these people, But at the same time, you understand his reasonings, and you're kind of on his side in a way. Whereas, like, he's not being mean because he's a mean-ass person. He's trying to push people. He's not a heartfelt guy. He's trying to push people to be better than themselves. And that's just such a great thing, because we all have those people in our lives who at least push us a little bit to become better to what we're supposed to be. And I thought that this movie gave that message beautifully. And then, of course, the music is great. And also, you just feel relatable when the guy is talking to you, people like that. So, I thought this film was great, and that's why it's my favorite film of retro films of 2022. And that's my review that's pretty much my ranking. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. All my social media stuff in the About section over there. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.